Welcome back, you beautiful people. It's another night, and things are actually going well. I hate to say that, because I might jinx myself, but things are going good. So here we are. There was my strip. I thought it was going to be an inch. Good thing I allowed an inch. But we are on. I got it back in there and lined up. And let me tell you, look how crispy that edge is. I am right in there. That is just a hair of a gap there. We're just passing by. See, I can go right past it. Just a hair space there. That is perfect. That is awesome. And the curve is not bad. Like I said, right where I hit it with the hammer, where I got that little bent edge, you can see it. There's a bit, but it's got to come out a little bit. I'll work on that. But I'm trying not to be so picky, because really, that last little 3/4 inch is tucked right underneath, so you're not going to see it anyway. We'll just work on a little bit to make it better. But now, back when I was mentioning about making a cut behind my trim, the whole reason for that, let me get this right back to where it was from factory. There. So when I put my trim back on there, the only actual body work I'm going to have to worry about seeing is like maybe a 1/2 inch there and maybe 3/4 inch there. That's the only blending that I have to do to make it perfectly smooth. I will do my best to make it all pretty good, but really, this is perfect to cover that all up. So really, you're probably not going to see any of it at all. That's my plan for that one, and I think it'll work out good. I'll be able to do my spot welds all across until it's done, grind it, and then it'll just be quick skim coat of Bondo, and just to even it up a little bit. When I do the weld, there may be a little ripple out here or something. We're going to do our best. But then I only have to concentrate on those 2 little spots, little circles on each end, just to clean it up and make it look good. So, off she comes. Got to clean that metal and start getting some of the rust converter on there and getting that transferred over to good steel that I can weld to. All right, grinding away. I'm starting to get her cleaned up. Got my edge cleaned up where I'm going to be butt welding it. And I went through the flappy disc and I cleaned off all the glue and everything and all the flaky rust and everything on the surface. I cut into it with the flappy wheel as well too, which took off almost everything. And this is what I'm down to for a lip on this corner. There was actually nothing at the edge there. It's thick here, but it was rusted right out. So it's good that I got one piece so that when I push this up, I know where it's supposed to be, though I do have it lined up already at the top, but at least it'll be tucked in there good. I know it's red. Traditionally, I'm the gray kind of guy, but they didn't have any of the gray rust primer at Canadian Tire. The old Rust Check that I liked, there was no gray. It was only a red, so that's what she gets. So I'm gonna let this dry. You can see it's still a little wet in spots. I did it kind of heavy. Gonna let her dry for a few minutes here. I can start cleaning up my other panels well too. I gotta get that old sticker off. But let this dry a little more. This side will be done and treated. We'll flip it over. We gotta grind the other side, get all the rust and stuff off it. And that is going to get a lighter coat of the primer. And we're just gonna let it do its thing. We're gonna let it convert that metal. And then we're gonna basically grind most of that back off, zinking it, and then welding to it. All right, here we go. Time to start fitting the skin on the door. I haven't done anything prep to the other side yet. I didn't know exactly how far the lip was going, but we'll get that paint taken off there as soon as we can. But first things first, I got just my stitch welds all on the door. My panel is up nice, feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty smooth, no waves yet, which is all right. That's just the very first set though. I'm going to get this thing, of course, tacked all the way around, get my pieces on the sides tacked on and everything before we go any further. And then, of course, when we come back, this will end up being tack, and we'll just keep going and going and going. Grind, a little bit of body fill, a little sand, and hopefully she'll be good. But I'm going to flip it over, start prepping the other side. All right, well, it's something anyway. It could have been a little better. Between whatever is on this metal, this aluminized stuff, I don't think it's Galvalume. I think it is Galvalume and not zinc galvanized that are on these sheets, because it's a bugger the weld. It's not very nice at all. And of course, I tried to grind this off after I had tapped it with the hammer, so there's those little waves, and I couldn't get it all out. So it is what it is. I did grind down the door part. It's black. Remember, that's what happens when the metal is treated with the rust check. It turns to a dark color, almost a black, a dark brown. So I got that all cleaned off, spot welded it in. They're nothing pretty, but whatever. When it's done, there'll be a set of spot welds in between every one of these. I'm not completing it. I'm not going to spot weld the whole thing. I'll get it in there 2 runs, and I'm going to end up seam sealing this whole edge all the way along here, leaving the drains open, of course, on each side. But that's going to be seam sealed, and then remember, we're gonna flood the inside of it with the rust treatment, and kind of like fill that bottom edge, and we'll let it run out a little bit out of a corner or something, or it might even just run out of the hole. We'll let it run out of there and let that dry for a few days. Then we'll hit it with the rubberized asphalt. We're using the asphalt, not the rubberized undercoating. I want that asphalt with had the high petroleum content, and hopefully it'll keep that water away and out of the steel. But it is working. It's straight. It's on. It's pretty good. So next, I need to cut my edges off here to start shaping the door. Now, as per one of the viewers had mentioned, I'm not cutting it off flush with the edge of the door. I'm leaving just over 1/8 extras hanging out. And he had a good point. When I put my other plate on here, I got to weld this edge. I'm going to weld it all the way along, spot weld it along. I want to give it the appearance of this thickness here, so it looks like it's continuing on. You're going to see that on the door. And it also, that is the strength of the back part of this. And when I do that, the problem I'm going to have is, as it welds, it's going to want to kind of blast through a little bit, and it might make these little notches. Well, if I cut it right to the edge, that means that little notch is going to be below the edge of the door. So I left just over 1/8 inch the whole way up, in hopes that when I'm done spot welding, I can use my flappy wheel and shape that this way and this way. And then hopefully there'll be enough left so that when I'm done, it's a perfectly straight edge on both sides right along. But get those zipped off on both sides and continue on. Jeez, I feel like I'm making good progress tonight. I got that piece in. Of course, it's long. Of course. It's got it tacked in there all the way along nice and tight as I could. It is perfectly flush this way, though there is the bump, of course, where it goes down over the edge. Again, little seam. I'll clean up a little more, but that'll be seam sealed the whole way along there as well too, and you'll never see it. So both sides are on. Glued. Welded really, a little warm. Welded good. Flip it back over again. Cut this off to length. Pinch that edge closed. And hope for the best. See what happens when I start welding that edge. All right, that went pretty good. See, I got that seam tight together, both sides. And you see the original, and of course the one I made, so both sides, making it look like it's the exact same size material all the way down. So that went pretty good. It's welding deep. I can see the what do you call it? The penetration. So I'm definitely past the edge. But right here, that's exactly why I wanted to leave that edge, and why the viewer mentioned to make sure that I do bring it out, because when I pulled the trigger, it just blew the corner out, like instantly, just popped. Might have been a little dirt in there or something. So it is in there now. You can see I got it welded in the inside right there. But I'll have to come over that again and try to build it up just a little bit. But even if I can't get it all fixed up, at least when I take this back, that little tiny bit, which originally was over 1/8, and as you can see, as I weld it, they're going in a little bit, so it'll be almost flush when I'm done. But you know what? I'm gonna see if I can get both sides done and ground in tonight, so I can fill this thing full of paint and give it a day or so to dry. Let me jump on her, see if I can get this finished up. All right, that edge is completely welded. Got one little pinhole right there. Actually, I got 1, 2, 3 little tiny pinholes. So I'm gonna come back over that and I just zap, 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 clean them up. But I've got my edge. This is just a flappy wheel going freehand. But I got my edge here and I'm pretty almost dead straight. Now I actually have an attachment for this little guy that makes it like a little circular saw. So I can lay a piece of metal on here just like a flat edge, and I can use these blades as grinders. We got the sides of them have the diamond on it as well too. So what I'll do is I'll set up a little blade or a little piece of wood or something that's flexible that I can bend to that shape, give it the right distance, and I'll just use it just like a saw, and I'll just buzz just the edge back and forth on both sides. The side's got a little bit of I got a little low spot there I might have to fix up, but I'm thinking I'll do that on both sides, and that'll make it like square. But basically, the panel's on. Now I do got to flip it over and clean up the balls on the other side, and I put a few more spot welds here in the middle. This I'm not so worried about. It is, what is it, 10:15. I'm getting a little tired. Gotta get cleaned up and go to work tomorrow as well too. So I think I'm gonna just clean up the backside here just a little bit. Make sure everything is good. I'll fix a couple little pinholes. I'm gonna leave this till tomorrow because what I wanna do is I just wanna get this stood up. I'll move it closer to the door there, and I wanna hose some of the paint down the side there, the rust paint, and get it to seep down to that seam really good. Let it ooze down in there, and hopefully that'll be the best I can do to seal it up. Because once I do the couple little, actually there's not even any, I don't even have any pinholes on this side. But once the pinholes and the welding is done here on both sides, that's it. There'll be no more welding down in this area. This will be finished, so that paint will help seal that up. And then up here, we'll just start working on that a little more. It's not too bad, not too bad. Warpage is staying low, which is good. All right, so we fast forward to today, another day. I got the last of my grinding done on my door, and I stood this up on the ground, and I hosed it. I filled the complete inside of that door, the bottom, enough that I could rock the door back and forth, and it would run to one end and pour out the hole in the corner, and then it would roll back to the other end and pour out the corner of the hole. And it worked pretty good. So it is fully sealed in there. And then I took the can, and with the door standing up, I hosed the whole seam all the way around until it started running out as well too. This was the bottom, of course. And I hosed it out as well too. And it dried overnight, and it's hard. It's all good now. So I just went over it with the seam sealer. Looks a little rough at the moment, but this stuff dries and it'll pull itself tight. It's self-leveling. It'll work really good. And it's paintable. So once that's done, we'll end up getting a little extra primer on the edge here. Clean this up, scuff it up a little bit, and then this will get painted black, and the back side will be done. So let's flip this thing over. So now, the final step to prepping this thing is to finish welding this seam. Now you're not gonna bore you too much with it. I'm gonna do another set of spot welds, and a second set of spot welds, and then it'll be a third to finish it in a couple spots that are bigger. I might have to put 1 or 2 there, but it'll be a set of spot welds. Probably wait 10 or 15 minutes, another set, 10 or 15 minutes, another set. There we go. We're gonna call that the flow coat. So I got my welding done, ground down, and that made a perfect one swipe. It was like perfect, just straight across. And I didn't have much Bondo left in my jug. So you know what? I mixed it up and I put a little bit too much hardener in there because it started to kick off a little quicker. I couldn't get it perfectly smooth. But what I did is I put about not an 1/8 inch because that's excessive, but enough to cover the entire panel. Just because I'm sure, if you feel it, I'm sure there's going to be maybe a little ripple in it, just where when I tightened it down, it wasn't perfect, and where I pushed it. So what I figured is, if I have a good layer of bond over the whole thing, I'll start to sand it, and of course the metal's going to come through first. Because going back to the 64 bodywork days, and thanks to Chris, I got this bad boy still, which I love. So we'll get this thing starting off. We'll give it a good go over, doing our cross patterns and stuff. Remember, not straight, not on an angle, but a roll around it. Trying not to hit up here too much. I'll tape that off just to make sure. But yeah, I'm hoping that this dries up good. Get the old super sander on her. And yeah, we'll have ourselves a done door. All right, now the old Bondo has done its thing and is dry. Now I am going to protect the top of this door a bit, dust this off, and I'm going to get some tape in along this edge. I got did get a little Bondo on there, scraped it off a bit. But yes, this is all going to get sanded, but I don't want to be driving the sander into this part of the door, making divots in the paint. They all got to be fixed later on. So I'm hoping I'm just going to stop at this edge. So I'm going to tape down the seam, and I'll put some paper around it. Kind of keep this over it a little bit here. Maybe you can put some tape down on that. That'll just help me in case I get a little too close. But we're going to hit it with the air sander. Doing nice curves this way. And then we'll be doing nice curves that way. And I don't know. See what happens. Oh. There we go. The first run of sanding turned out really good. Touching metal, of course, in spots, but I don't know, man. I can't feel any transition. I think it was a really good idea that I put that thick coat right across. Some really thin spots here, not quite touching metal, but doing that diagonal back and forth a million times. With the power sander, the big air sander, we're right there. And then I went over with the orbital sander with 220, and it really smoothed it off nice. Got the, don't worry, I'm protecting myself. Just got the fan going. Get that dust out of here now. But you know what? I think there might be a little bit of a bubble right there, a little pinhole. And I think somewhere's, yes, one little one right here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit it with the primer. I'm going to wipe this down good, hit it with the primer, then I'll be able to get out my spot putty and dab any of the little spots that I see. All right, primer is on. So yes, you can see the spots. There's one there. Got a little pinhole there, a pinhole there. Got one little one there. Oh, and a couple right here. Just minor ones, and they are literally like pinholes, little tiny holes. Probably a little piece of, like a little bubble of air or something. I might have put the Bondo on too quick or too fast, and it just made a little bit of a bubble that laid up in there. But overall, that is looking really, really good. Really consistent and smooth. I can't see any lines. Though I'm painting it black, so everything's going to show up. But that turned out really good. So I'm going to get my spot putty. I'm going to fix those little spots, let them dry, give them the sand. Then we'll flip this thing over. I still got to kind of sand gently my other edge here. There's a little bit of Bondo, the chunks kind of got squished under because this is just a start. So yeah, I'll touch those up, let them dry. We'll flip her over and we'll continue on. And just like that, no more pinholes. Smooth as a baby's bottom. Yeah, buddy. Yo. Now, that was a good little rest there. Got to have myself a wobbly while that was drying up. Time to flip this baby over and finish the other side. Air this place out again. Oh yeah, baby. All right, look at that. Look at that shine. That's only with spray bomb. You know what? I'm probably better at spray bombing than I am with the actual gun, except for the patterns are so small on a spray gun. But I got everything cleaned up, got my primer on, went around with it with 220 by hand, just using those little pads, using these little scratch pads here, these foam ones. Getting all my edges and everything, down my sides, made sure my seam sealer was all good. Then I went around the whole thing, gave her a nice coat, light coat of black, then went in with a heavier coat. Now this isn't the metallic. I'm not gonna waste the money on metallic match paint because I do plan on doing the whole truck in the summer, hopefully. So this is just, it'll make it look okay. It'll be good, keep it protected, but the biggest thing is just to stop that rust till it's time to go. But that is where I'm gonna have to leave this tonight. I don't wanna mess with it, don't wanna get any fingerprints. I'm gonna let it sit all night. I might actually, if I get up early enough, it's gonna be a rough morning. I don't know, I might not even go to bed tonight. We'll discuss that in a second. But I would like to get a coat on the good side. Flip it over, just a nice brush to make sure there's no overspray, get nice and smooth, and put my first 2 coats on, and then let it dry the day, and then end up finishing it off tomorrow night. Now, as for the part of not going to sleep tonight, the lady's home tonight. Lek gets home tonight, or theoretically tomorrow morning at about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Her plane lands at Calgary. By the time she gets off the plane, I get her picked up and back home here. It's probably going to be close to 3 if everything goes smooth. The real joy is it started blowing like 30k winds and it just started snowing. And this is supposed to carry on all night. Looks like we're going to be getting another 15 to 20 centimeters. So about a half a foot, 6 to 7 inches, which I definitely don't want. So it might be an extra long drive back from the airport, or maybe to the airport, because I'm not leaving for another 2.5 hours. And poor Truckee, now she's on stands and no door. So it'll be a long, slow drive, but we'll take it easy, take it careful. I am so happy that she's coming home. I'm a self-sufficient guy, I am. But I tell you what, it's nice when a lady takes care of you. She doesn't mind doing the cooking, the cleaning, and I don't mind, supporting her in that, if that's what she wants to do. She's very particular about her cleaning, so I let her do that, no problem at all. And I don't know, I need to be taken care of a little bit again. Anyway, excited about that. Excited about this. This is going to be awesome. All the rust gone. Wow, it's turned out good for something that I thought would just be a little test piece. Yes, look what we got going on here. Look at that door. Look at that shine. Get those lines. Try to get those lines in there so you can see the ceiling. I think that's pretty good. That's good enough. She is nice and straight. The camera's not picking up. It's not quite as shiny as where the original paint is, but this is also just the trim clad black. That's all I used on it. I might buy a can of the clear coat, a new one, and clear that. I'd like to protect it a little better. The stuff does fade out over time without a clear coat on it. But yeah, I'd like to put a clear coat on that before I finish it and throw it outside. But you know what? Getting the light across that, I think it's a pretty smooth panel, pretty good. Nice little curve. You can see the lines in the roof. Pretty good, I think. So I was a little productive, even though I didn't physically do any actual stuff on the truck. The one thing I did do, though, and it was a good call by a viewer, is before I went in last night, I got up in here and I sprayed down the bolts holding on my front grille with some good rust penetration fluid, and hopefully they come off. I'm assuming they're riv nuts the way they look. They're inside there, so you strip them out, kind of hooped. You'd have to put some more in. But I'm hoping that with just those 6 bolts and the removal of my latch release here, hopefully that thing comes off pretty good. Because like I said, I'm expecting that to be here tomorrow. So, I don't know, there'll be a delay in a video. Maybe I'll try to put the door on. The door's feeling nice and dry. So that might be the next video I do, is getting that door back on. But I hope I'm going to try today. I'm going to try to get those out, get this off here this morning, and get it out on a little bench. Here we go. Look at that. I even put a little metal polish on that thing, and now it looks too good compared to the other ones. But I got my line straight as I can. Got the right distance on each end. That is looking good. That turned out really good. And you know what? You can, other than this is clean and that's dusty, there's not really much difference between that Tremclad black and that metallic, though I'm sure out in the sun it'll show up. But turned out really good. On this side here, I'm right even with the bottom of the cab. Looks okay. The front side, though, I'm just a little bit longer than the door, but it's curved under. I shouldn't say it's longer this way. It's like longer that way. The way it curves under, it's just a little bit longer. But again, you will never see it. And yeah, that turned out great. You can see the little dimple marks, of course, where I put this in. Not worried about it at all. That's all seam sealed. There's no actual like seam that water can get in, but it's all cleaned up and painted, and this will stay open. I am not putting, if you guys remember, right here, this stupid piece of metal or rubber here. It's a wind dam, I'm assuming. We'll see how bad it is without it, but I can't see it being that bad. But what it is, it goes across the bottom, and it fits in all these little holes. As soon as you close the door, it pinches it tight against the big drain holes where I can stick my finger in here. It pinches it tight. Same as the front ones. The front ones are all the same way. Where are we at here? Look, there's a drain hole right there, but it makes an indent in the rubber because it pushed it so tight. Because it sits in just like that and plugs it off. And then you only really maybe get some water out of it when you open the door, but then still, it's holding the dirt in and it's just plugging it up. These, I guess, are lucky. I don't know why the back one is so bad and the rest aren't. I don't know why one door is so bad compared to the rest, but those are all going to be coming off. There's no way I'm keeping them on. Well, the front grille is off. Not nicely, though. We're going to have to buy some parts, which is fine. I kind of anticipated it. What you see left behind is every single nut, so-called nut, that is was supposed to come off, but did not. And I'll show you what this is in a minute here. You got the bolt on the back side, okay? And then you see, which looks like a washer spinning. Well, that piece is actually part of a bigger piece. Those are part of, get one out of here, these. So in this is that washer type thing that's not really round. It's got a shape to it. It's molded into this plastic. And this is the so-called bolt, or the nut, sorry. And they just slip in these little holders. And then, of course, you put your bolt through and you screw into it. Well, every single one ripped out. Now, you can buy these. They're not that expensive, but I definitely need them. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So I have to get 6 of those. 6 of those little holders in the nuts, and that will end up being the replacement for those. Now, as for the main bracket, it is so bendy. So bendy, and it's so twisted and chewed right through. Probably, you could have left it. Yeah, I'm sure I could have, but it's just nasty. And not to mention, let me flip this over. Now those grill guards, those have been on there since I bought the truck. I never took them off. I used to have the blankout ones on my 08 Dodge Diesel, just because if it was below -15, you couldn't get any heat in the cab. And they worked great, but they have, I guess, trapping moisture and dirt behind them and never getting cleaned. They've all gone to crud. Now, I don't know if it's worth trying. I'll look to see what it is for price them. If they're not that expensive, we'll slap a new set in, and I might even leave those off. I've never taken them off. Truck's never overheated in the summer. Twice I got it hot, hauling a full load of straw. It got a little warm, but never overheated. But probably because those were so restricting. But I'm thinking if they're not too expensive, I will replace these because they're not something that you can just take out. They have these clips. There is 9 on each side, but they are super tight. And being brittle plastic, I'm sure if you bend them just even a little bit, they're gonna break out. Now I have the original numbers stamped in them, so it'll be easy to search for them. But yeah, that's her. So my next step on the front of the hood here is now I can probably get a set of pliers or vice grips on the little washer, and I can pull them and I can take these out. But look at this is what we got going on under here. There's no actual rust going through yet, but the paint is all starting to bubble up, and of course the rust is starting underneath. No hard flaky rust, but this is the perfect time to get on this. I can buff this down. You can see up here starting to bubble up. Get that buffed off, polished off down to some steel, put some rust treat on it front and back, and then we'll be able to treat that lip both sides, get it all cleaned up. And like I said, I'm just hoping that this little beast will last me another 5 years or so. All right, we are stripped down for now. The grill is in exceptional shape, the front of this thing, minus these. But even the plastic, there's some scuffs and stuff in it, but being on the front of a truck, I can't believe that there's not more big chips and chunks taken out of it. But everything come out pretty good. I managed to get every screw out on the bottom. These are pretty cheap to buy, and they were a little hard to get out. So I might have to put new. Oops, there we go. I might put new ones in. We'll see. Though they came out really nice. The screws are good. Maybe I just run a tap over them, clean them up, and call that a day. But, jeez, come on, give me a break. Give me a break. Break clean. Stand up. But the tube, here's where we're into the good stuff and what I wanted to replace. So hindsight, always 20/20, and engineers, you would have thought would have caught something like this, but here we are. So this is the main frame that holds the grill to the front of the truck. Yes, there are those bolts on the top, which are all these ones, but that only holds the top in. This stops the whole front from wobbling in and out. And as you can see, there's not much material left to do that. It's pretty nasty. But here again, you've engineered a part that's on the front of the truck, exposed to all elements, which is a whole tube all the way down to that point, all the way down to that point, and then one down to this point. So they fill up with water, moisture, and dirt, of course. This is stretched out so much that I bet you it's a 1/4 inch bigger than the rest of the tube. You can feel it. It's stretched out. It didn't actually pop it, which I'm surprised, but I'm sure that's from filling up with dirt and water and freezing over the winter that it stretched that right out. These ends filling up with water, and there's just nowhere to go. This is the bottom, right? That's the bottom of it. It sits like that on the truck. Oh, it just folded in half. It sits like that on the bottom of the truck, and that water and dirt is just in there for, oh, there it goes, for years and years. 18 years to be exact. 2008 truck. So, yeah, that was the end of that one. Now, that is what is supposed to be here tomorrow. Though, I was thinking that would just come off and I'd go right back on. Wishful thinking. We need these clips. I'm sure I can find them. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I'll get on Amazon tonight and order up a set. I need 6 of them. Like I said, they all come out. I actually managed to get every single nut off. That wasn't the problem. The penetrating fluid worked, I guess, but it was just that even with the penetrating fluid, the torque on the nut was more than what this little plastic case could handle, even though it's inset with a big thick screw and whatnot. And you can see it just split it. You can see all the cracks, just split them all apart. And so like this and a stud, that would be one item. Oh, they're not two, but that's what they would be. And then they would clip into the backside of the grill, and then you'd hook them on. So yeah, I'm gonna get 6 of those. While I'm on there, if they happen to have a kit of these bolts with those clip-on nuts. I don't know what you call those, but if I happen to have a bunch of them that are cheap, I might as well get some. Might as well get 4 of those. And then I'm also going to look for these grills. I'd rather, you know what? I'd rather have open more. I'd rather have open more than having those on there. And so if I can find these 2 grills, looks like 4. They flip it over. They're just 1 per side. And they got the part numbers on them, so I'll look for them. If they're fairly cheap, I'll just buy new ones, and then I can just snap the keeper off them. They'll pop off. It'll make this really easy to clean and get all the way around it. And then I gotta clean some of this. I don't know what was on it. It had like it wasn't stuck to the truck, but it had like a little piece of foam that must have been like to stop the dirt from going down in between the 2 halves or something. So I have to look about finding some single-sided, really, really thin foam. Like there's not much of a gap. But I'm assuming that's what it was to stop the chafe between the plastic and the metal hood. So those need to be replaced. And then of course, when we come to the hood here, which without that front piece on, you gotta be careful. The shocks will just about fold this thing over. And this, like I said, there's no rust through the metal. There's no expansion of the metal. There's no flaking. But that's not so bad down there. But it is all the paint has started to bubble off. So we'll get in there, get that all cleaned up. It's below the hood line or anything we're going to see, so we don't have to worry about matching it. But we'll scrape all this paint off, wire wheel it off, clean up all the metal, get it treated inside and out on the back side as well too. You can see where it's flaking up there. And then again, rust primer, top coat, better than new, hopefully last for 5 years. You notice that, 5 years. That's it. That's what I'm trying to get out of this. I'm trying to get this truck to look good for 5 years. For me, hopefully it still looks good at the end of that, and I can sell it. That's the plan. I like to think ahead, a ways ahead. But yeah, that's the plan. 5 years, get rid of her, look for something different. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Like I said, order some more parts. Hopefully that comes in tomorrow. At least I get started on it. We'll go from there. Love you all. Catch you again later.